we've been setting up the high level CRM for clients, and we've done it for like 6 or 7 so far. Yeah, I'm running into this issue where like they'll use it for like a week and then they just stop using it and they go back to what they were doing before. It's happened a bunch of times. And so, that's been on my mind because we're using it internally to track people's results and whatnot, because it's a lot easier. But I kind of went full circle and I was thinking about like our core service and why it works so well. And I think a big part of it is that it doesn't require that our clients like change anything.
Hmm.
Like most of our clients, they're contractors who usually haven't done much marketing, or if they have, they tried Google ads or advertising and they got a bunch of crappy leads and they didn't like it and they don't think it works. And these guys and girls are usually getting most of their customers through referrals or repeat business. And so that's like their baseline is referrals. It's like, hey, Sally called or give me your contact info. I hope that's okay. I'm looking for a kitchen remodel. And they get 10 of these calls and they might close like 7 jobs from it. And so that's their baseline. And so maybe the next thing they try is Google ads. And you might talk to 10 leads from Google ads and close 0 jobs. And so they think, oh, well, these are just crappy leads. This doesn't work. But it's actually that's just how leads are. And they're used to referrals.
Right. That makes sense.
And
Yeah.
yeah. And so our core product is like helping people get found on Google. So the keyword is found. Like when somebody types in kitchen remodeler near me or something on Google, and they skip past the ads because the ads are put right in their face. Like if they do click ads, usually they don't even look at it. They click the first thing they see, they fill out a form. They do that like 4 times and they leave. But most people, I think at least more than half, will skip past the ads and they'll do like a little bit of investigating on their own. And they'll find Google Maps because there's little review stars there. And we're all used to shopping on Amazon. So we're all used to looking at these reviews. And they'll just do some investigating and they'll read some reviews. They'll look at pictures. They'll look at websites and they'll find an option or 2 or 3 that they think is the best that they found on their own. And then they contact the contractor. And when you get 10 of these leads, it's a lot more akin to getting referrals than it is to getting leads from like Google ads. Like
Mm.
these are people who already know who you are. They've already read your reviews, looked at pictures, read about you. They've already like almost chose you. Now they're just going through the motions and further vetting you. And so when we do this for our clientele, it works really well for them. And I it's not like the volume of leads is usually super high. It's that they're, according to our clients, they'd say they're more higher quality. But I think what it really is they're just more akin to referrals. Like these are people who already know who they are. And so going full circle, like my challenge now is teaching people how to deal with 5 times as many leads to get one customer. And that's just something most people don't want to deal with. And I don't blame them. And so, looking back at our last 100 clients, that's, I think, why 9 out of 10 of them prefer to just stick with the foundational marketing system and just getting found on Google. And they're not really interested in running ads, learning how to use a CRM so they can deal with a high volume of calls and all that kind of nonsense.
Yeah. Because really, the only solution, if they don't want to deal with, in quotes, lower quality leads, which is, like you said, it's just a necessary evil of scaling up. The only solution is really to get an appointment setter to handle those. And that way, the people, once they get to the business owner, they're essentially a referral at that point because they're so warm, they're vetted, they're qualified, and they're interested.
Yeah, like I would probably like 3 days ago, I would have agreed with the term necessary evil, but it's like that's just that's what leads are like. Like that's how it is
Yeah.
in all sales. It's just that we are what is the word? Like miscrewing that with referrals, and like those are not really like leads as normal lead gen or
Hmm.
sales is concerned. So yeah, I think it's kind of like a frame shift everyone needs to do is like this is this is just how it normally is, and those referrals are like a whole different ball game.
Totally. Yeah.
And yeah, it's like if you want to play the game as it's normally played, or at least from a marketing standpoint, how it's normally played, yeah, you gotta figure out how to track everything, have appointment setters, be used to calling people over and over and over again, and moving this big group of people into a small number of customers that will turn around and refer more customers to you and uh, come back and hire you over and over again and be easy after that. But like getting to the gold nugget requires quite a bit of digging. And that's my current challenge is it's pretty easy to teach people how to dig, but it's hard to make people understand why they need to.
Do you find that it's like completely across the board that contractors don't like um, dealing with those types of leads? Or do you have some like anomaly clients who are like totally excited about the prospect of talking to those type of leads?
Well, the clients that don't mind it are the ones who've already moved out of being the technician and being the business owner. You
Mm-hmm.
know, those who have employees who take calls, or those who are like, that's their job at their company is to take the calls and do the estimates. They have less of a problem with it. But from what I've seen, pretty much anybody who goes on the job themselves, they don't want to be spending a lot of time on the phone. And it makes sense. Like
Yeah.
you really do. If you're like, if there's one salesperson fielding, 60 leads a month, like that's a lot of work. Just calling people back is a huge job, but you're not just calling them back. Like they come in, you're calling them back, you're setting them appointments, you're having that initial conversation, you're doing the in-home appointments. And on average, it might take 3 calls just to get to that point, like per person. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's like most of your time as a salesperson, after 3 months, if you're doing 60 leads, you have 180 leads in your pipeline and you're calling them, texting them, emailing them over and over again. That's where most of your time goes. So that's where some of the modern CRMs really help out because they automate a lot of that. But there's no way around having somebody like diligently following up and pursuing those leads day after day to move them through the pipeline and to turn them into customers. And most people, even outside of contractors, they don't really do the follow up very well. So they only get the really easy to close leads and they don't get any of the others. But half of the value is in those others. It's just a matter of having a system and a routine of going after them. So it's, a big construction company that's running ads and doing all these sales is in a way like a media and sales company. Like a significant amount of time and resources goes to this marketing and sales funnel that spits out customers to the operations side. And the big ones, they do 8 different kinds of marketing and they track them all and they have a full staff doing this. So that's kind of how it goes.
Yeah. So to me, it begs the question for those contractors who are still on the job of what do you really want from your business and do you actually want to scale? Because to do those, you are required to step out of the business or not out of it, but work on it rather than in it. You need
Well,
to, that's
and
a big leap for a lot of people, and not everyone's willing to take that. They think they want to scale, but not everyone really wants to just change their role. Some people love just hammering.
yeah, and each market and each company will have a different cap that they can get to with like the organic marketing that we focus on. And like I said, it's a lot less work to deal with these kind of organic leads coming in because they're a lot like referrals. And so if my recommendation to somebody who doesn't want to go down that path of becoming a sales company is to invest more and focus more on that organic side and like making yourself findable so that people can find you on their own and choose
Mhm.
you and then call you, because then it's a lot less work to manage. Now that's what we did at Kyle Construction. That was the only kind of marketing that we had, or that we have still. And we just have a calendar set up. So when somebody fills out the form, we only get like 10 or 15 forms a month, and probably 10 of the 15 fill out the calendar. And then on Fridays, my dad goes and meets with these people.
So what tips do
And
you have for creating marketing that gets you the warmest leads possible?
well, so it's I think you have to think about it through your customer's journey. Like what are they thinking? What are they doing? What are they seeing? And so we did this a little bit earlier, but if somebody Googles a kitchen remodeler near me and they click on the ad, like their journey took 2 seconds and they're filling out a form in 10 seconds. So it wasn't very long. And those kind of people are never going to be a super warm lead, because they're the type of person who's just trying to, whatever they might think, oh, I just need some estimates. It doesn't matter where they come from.
Right. They might just be kicking tires. That they might have filled out 10 website forms.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of tire kickers out there. They don't want to work too much, but the it's kind of a balance between you want to be easy to find, and you want to look really, really attractive on the front end. So you want to have a really high rating on Google Maps. You want to have more reviews than your competitors. So you'll be showing up there right underneath the ads in the organic section, and people will see the reviews. They'll get their first impression is like, oh, this is a good company. They have more reviews than everybody else. And you want to have a lot of pictures. You want to have pictures of the people on your website. You want to start moving towards qualification. So once people know you have good reviews, you do good work, they know who you are, they've seen pictures of you and your team and everything. When they're getting further down the funnel, like into the contact form, you probably want to have some extra questions on there. You want to start qualifying people then, because some people will self-select themselves out of your funnel. Like, oh, we always ask for budget. We ask for it on the form. And so many people, like a lot of our clients even, they don't even like to ask about budget when they call them. And we ask about it on the contact form, and like 80% of people just give like a price range or a budget that they have in mind. And it's really not a big deal, but that's something that we'll use to qualify,
Mhm.
because we don't want to waste our time estimating a project that somebody is their budget's not even in the ballpark. We need to address that before we spend too much time on it and before they spend too much time on it. So to recap, it's like you want to be really easy to find, you want to be really attractive on the front end. As people work their way through your online presence or whatever you want to call it, you want to like switch to kind of qualifying and helping people figure out if they should continue, so that by the time you're getting their contact information and you're calling them on the phone, like they're already 80% of the way. It's just a matter of talking to them. Are they a good fit? Doing an estimate. Does it make sense? Do you even want the job? All that kind of stuff. But that is 10 times easier than somebody saw your ad, they filled out their contact info, and now you're calling them.
Yep. Makes a lot of sense. So you're getting these leads and they need a little bit of nurturing, you know, email, phone call, text follow-ups, whatever it is. What tips do you have for that follow-up process?
Well, for the referral like leads that I'm talking about, it's you're going almost straight from them being a lead to them being a customer. So you just want to give them the best experience you can. When their info comes through, either give them a way to schedule their own appointment or call them as soon as you can. If you can call somebody in a few minutes, that's huge. When you do call them, be professional, ask the right questions, like be good at what you do. Have some kind of plan when you call them. What do you need to know? What do they need to know? And just give them a really good experience. That's going to make your life a lot easier. Once I started thinking through the lens of optimizing for their experience, the routines that I came up with and the questions I asked, they all just made a lot more sense. I got all the info I needed. I wasn't calling people back asking for more stuff. I wasn't showing up to people's houses unprepared. So it's just paying attention to that and making sure that they're having a good experience. If you're talking about like regular leads, when you're buying leads or you're advertising or things like that, you have to look at it like a numbers game, but the customer experience principles still apply. It's just you're doing it to 10 times as many people or more. And so it's just a matter of like doing your best, or if you have sales staff, making sure that they understand that they need to try to do things in the same way every time and measure all of that stuff. So if you ask the same 10 questions every time and your estimator is always coming back and asking for some information you don't have, maybe you add that as the 11th question. You know, maybe you set 100 appointments and 60 of them show up, so 40 of them didn't. Maybe you change something in there and now 70% of them show up. So when you're doing things at a larger scale with higher numbers, you want to do things in a routine kind of way so that you can measure the results and make adjustments and measure the improvements or measure it getting worse, whatever happens. But it matters a lot more when you're working with high numbers. When you're working with referral like leads, it's more of like a one-on-one type of human thing. Like if it doesn't work out, it's probably because it wasn't a right fit, or maybe you messed up, or maybe they decided not to do it or whatever. But when you're working with thousands of names, then the things you do over and over again tend to matter a lot more. Does that make
Totally.
sense?
It does, yeah. And to it being a numbers game, the biggest thing for me with dealing with leads from advertising or whatever is just having a good mindset about it and understanding that every no gets you closer to a yes. So like actually being excited about the no's in a weird way. Depends on the business, depends on the type of leads you're getting. It might be 10 no's to a yes, it might be 100 no's to a yes, but just know that every no gets you closer to a yes, and to not like be bummed out because you're not closing every single lead.
Yeah.
It's just
I think that
natural
happens
how it is.
naturally when you're dealing with high numbers. Like that kind of mentality happens naturally because you're more like a filter.
Yeah.
Like you're just moving a whole bunch of people through this thing. And when you get a no, it's great because you're actually able to do something, because most of the time you're getting no response and nothing back. And so you have to call this person again. And so it's like a no is better than nothing, and a yes is better than a no. But it's all the same at the end of the day. And also when you're dealing with the high volume, you can't remember everybody. So that's another reason you have to have a CRM. A CRM is a content relationship manager. So it's some way to track all these conversations and these interactions you have, so that 2 months from now, when you talk to somebody and you've spoken to 500 people since then, and you don't remember anything about this person, you have somewhere to go to quickly look up the information and recall the conversation you had and move on. If you're only dealing with a few leads a month, you don't typically need that. You can have a notebook or something, which is what most guys do. They have like a notebook, but you can't use a notebook when you're dealing with 100 leads a month. At least
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't try to do it. I know people that do, but they're only scraping the cream off the top. They're not following up and going after the people they didn't reach. If you're trying to do that, you have to have some kind of system to track that stuff.
100%.
That was pretty solid. We could
Super
post
solid.
something on there.
I was just scrolling through your comments, seeing if there's anything cool to respond to. Andy Black's loving the videos, eh?
Is he?
Yeah. He commented on your how to get more reviews, and he says, A friend asks for the review as they're leaving. They send them a text then and there with the links to their Google reviews and their Facebook reviews. Strike while the iron is hot.
Yeah,
So true.
100%. I
Yep.
know some people who are doing QR codes now, which is cool. You have like a little business card,
Mm-hmm.
the QR code, people scan it, it goes right to your review. You help
Mm-hmm.
them with the review. That's a good way to do it. I would just like tape the QR code to the back of my phone. But yeah, like when I was like on the job doing remodels, I would always ask people, like as I was rolling up the drop cloth, like backing out of their front door and they're standing there, I'd be like, hey, it would help us out, or would you do me a favor? It would help other people a lot to understand what it's like to work with us if you left us a review on Google. Nobody ever said no.
Mm.
I started like helping people do it because some people couldn't figure out how to do it.
Yeah, I watched
Yeah.
Matt Beans do that at Shred Club. Whenever he was taking their payment after they returned their rental, like as the card machine was doing its thing, he'd be like, "Hey, can you do me a quick favor?" And they'd be like, "Yeah, sure. What's up?" He'd be like, "All right, pull out your phone, go to Google, type in Shred Club. Was it a good time? Would you give us 5 stars? Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, click 5 stars, and then type in what you loved about it."
Dude.
And everyone was always stoked to do it. That's the funny thing is people are afraid to ask, but like he asked every single customer, and everyone was super stoked. Because I mean, if you give someone a good time or a good experience or a good service, like people want to spread the news. Like nobody's gonna be mad about that unless you suck.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's kind of like asking for people's budget. Like if somebody won't give me their budget, that's like a huge red flag to me.
Mm.
And if somebody's not happy and they're not going to give you a review, that gives you a chance to fix it. And in my experience, when someone's unhappy and you like go above and beyond to fix it, they'll give you like a 20-star review.